All right, hey guys, and well, I didn't expect to be making a follow-up video this quickly, but actually, this is for a very important issue. So, just a few hours ago, I started writing up a twit longer to tweet onto Twitter. So basically, if you don't know how Twitter works and what twit longer is, basically, um, tweets you can only write up to 280 characters, but if you need to express everything in more than 280 characters. Twit longer is the site that you can use to tweet longer than 280 characters. My my tweet ended up being over 10,000 characters, so I um, really needed to say a lot of things. But yeah, I'll actually leave a link to the twit longer in the description down below. Just so because I'm going to be directly reading from the twit longer, so if you want to read and follow along, kind of like elementary school style, um, go ahead and click the link in the description down below, and go ahead and follow along while I read it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So let me go ahead and adjust the mic real quick. So yeah, basically the title of this video is "I Need Help," and the reason why I need help, this will take quite a while to explain, so go ahead and sit back and buckle in. So a little over 3 years ago, I moved to my present location of Gridley, California, which is where I live right now, with the intent of piecing my life back together after a series of bad slash not so smart decisions. And I'd originally thought that it would take about a year or so for me to get my life back on track and be able to leave Gridley in a better state than I had entered it in. Because Gridley is a small farming town, and life moves quite a bit slower around here. So I felt it was the best place to get a fresh start and be able to fix my mistakes at my own pace. So I arrived in Gridley with three goals in mind: to complete my high school diploma, own a car, and get my driver's license. And almost immediately, I encountered my first setback. In addition to the fear and uncertainty that accompanied the beginning of the COVID pandemic in March, 2020 also began with the unexpected situation where I was unjustly forced from the house I just recently settled into my current place of residence, um, which is this place. While rent was cheap, um, I was pretty hesitant to move to this current location, as the condition of both the houses, interior and exterior, made it evident that the property had been neglected for years. So once I realized that this place was pretty much my only choice of an affordable living arrangement, I begrudgingly accepted to move in. Um, I still had the mindset that I would not be staying here in Gridley for long, but nonetheless, I've contributed more than my fair share to the upkeep of this house and maintaining some semblance of cleanliness and order within the space that I live in right here. Um, so after saving up for about a year, I was able to purchase a used 2001 Toyota Corolla, which you've definitely heard me talk about in videos before. Um, and once I had my own car, I was able to set my sights on obtaining a driver's license. So I had to teach myself how to drive, but after months of practice, I was able to I was able to pass the road test and get my license. So having my own car and a driver's license now provided me with not only a sense of independence, but a reliable mode of transportation. So then I was able to find a program in the area that offers immigrants and high school dropouts like me the opportunity to finish our high school education and receive an actual high school diploma for our efforts instead of a GED. Um, and the effects of the pandemic and inconsistent work hours at my job deeply impacted my mental well-being, and it made it 10 times harder to complete my classwork. And despite the lack of motivation and constant battle to manage my untreated ADHD, I eventually retook and passed the classes I had failed when I initially attended high school. I then completed my senior year requirements and graduated in October, which I had alluded to in my past video. While this excruciatingly long 3 year journey has culminated in achieving all the goals that I originally set for myself when I moved here to Gridley, the process to reach these goals took much longer than expected, and the celebration of each accomplishment was short lived because of an almost constant bombardment of setbacks. Um, like I said, the pandemic began soon after I moved into this house, which made it even harder for me to find a job. And then when the pandemic restrictions started to loosen, my roommate's father decided to move out of the house. And so, with one less roommate, my monthly rent increased. So then I began asking for and working additional hours at my job so that I could afford this larger expense. But the extra shifts on top of, on top of my classes, it quickly burnt me out. So as a result, my hours were then cut almost in half. And this continued for another few months until the owner of the restaurant sold the business and the new owners did not decide to rehire me. So with nothing to lose, I just decided to follow the previous owner to their new ventures since it promised a new position I desperately needed to combat my living expenses. Um, but despite my lack of experience and knowledge in my new position, I tried my best to persevere and improve my skills so that I could better perform my role. And after 2 to 3 months at this job, I was let go because my boss's unrealistic expectations of me were not being met. They frequently left me in charge of the entire store and put in little to no effort in teaching me about the field or providing me with any feedback or assistance in order to improve at the job. So then, consequently, I spent 3 months unemployed before I was hired by Taco Bell. Wasn't my ideal job, but at least it meant that I now had some sort of income again, and I could just stop relying on my girlfriend and my friends sending me money so I can afford food for the week. Um, but then straight away, I discovered that the environment at Taco Bell was toxic, very very toxic. Um, I dreaded coming into work, and I left every shift mentally and emotionally drained. Discovering the opportunity to DoorDash was a breath of fresh air. I decided to pursue a job as a dasher while continuing to work at Taco Bell to hopefully have some extra income so I can save up for emergencies and keep some kind of reliable form of income since shifts as a dasher are very unpredictable. My general manager at Taco Bell was not happy to hear that I had taken up a second part-time job, so then they limited my hours. Nonetheless, I was experiencing relative success door dashing, so I really didn't mind the decrease in hours at a job I hated having. As you might have guessed, things didn't stay that way for long. Um, my Corolla was already not in the best shape, 2001. So the increased use after I started door dashing, it quickly exacerbated its imperfections and the unavoidable problems that with my car appeared one after the other. The power steering pressure line sprang a leak. The left and center brake lights burnt out. The engine was continually burning oil, so I had to keep pouring more oil into it. Just to name a few of the issues that I had encountered. And then in December, which is just a couple months ago, the check engine light kept turning on, which revealed that my engine was running on a lean air fuel mixture. This was a problem that I needed to address immediately because I was supposed to be renewing my registration in February, but thanks to California law, I needed to pass a mandatory biannual smog check in order to do so. So I knew this would result in my car failing that smog check. So then I called up my mechanic friend to help me resolve this issue. But then that phone call that I made to him would open up another giant can of worms. Let me go ahead and pull that back down a little bit. So the initial assumption and agreement when I brought him my car last month was that I was to pay him $150 to buy some parts like a new air filter and an O2 sensor so he can make the appropriate repairs. You know, but once he took a closer look at my car, he then told me that he's going to need additional $800 for other parts like a new fuel pressure regulator, head gasket, and spark plugs. So then I called my uncle, and into a few days of this situation, I called my uncle, and then we agreed that we both felt like the expenses to maintain the car were starting to become more than the cost of the car itself. And so it would just be better to sell the car and just purchase another used car. So when I told this to him, when I told this to my mechanic friend, his explosive response made it basically impossible for me to agree to anything else besides just paying for the parts and labor to repair the current car. So then I reluctantly paid him more money to purchase additional parts. Yet the more he looked, the more issues that he discovered that needed to be addressed. Soon it was also, bad piston rings, structural weakness in the engine head, and poor compression in two of the cylinders, just to name a few. And then after my car spent about like a week and a half being worked on in the shop, he had called me earlier this morning to tell me that he had come to the conclusion that the cost to fix the rest of these problems would be more than the value of the car itself, essentially the car becoming totaled. So, understandably, I was furious because I had just given him nearly $1,000 in cash, to fix my car over the past week and a half, only for him to tell me that the car is just beyond repair and all that work was just basically for nothing. So I basically wasted almost $1,000. This was something I had already tried to establish with him and I prevented from occurring, but he refused to accept it. So his whole, endeavor to fix my car also caused me to miss almost 2 weeks of work and pay that I already desperately needed to survive. So then my mechanic friend then gave me an offer which I had to take since I had no other options. He would then just, give me. I'm sorry for all the air quotes. I'm just being really, really sarcastic. He would give me a new car, another car, a 2003 Buick Century, and then have the Corolla scrapped. So then he came over this afternoon with the new car. I'll stop. He came over this afternoon with the new car, and then had me complete some paperwork. Before revealing then that the car would then cost me $3,000. So it took my pleading and reminding him of my financial situation for him to agree to lower the price to $2,500. I was on the verge of breaking down. Like, I worked so hard to be able to save up enough money to buy that Corolla, and then not even 2 years later, I was being forced to part ways with it. But I had no other option, so I just had to accept his offer. And honestly, the rest of the day was quite melancholic as the realization slowly sank in that I was gonna have to part ways with a car that I'd seen myself driving for years to come, and I'd have to force myself to adjust to a new car that I never asked to own in order to spend hours earning money just so I can pay the $2,500 for the car in addition to my everyday living expenses. So this is where I ask for any and everyone's help. I've already nearly maxed out the limit on my credit card and only have $30 left on my debit card, and I still have yet to pay for this month's internet bill. After I finally accomplished all the goals that I'd set for myself at the beginning of this journey to turn my life around, I was in the process of planning to finally move out of Gridley. With my present financial situation, I feel like I've only gone backwards with the progress I've made, and I don't know when moving out of Gridley will be a feasible option again, if ever. I'm not saying all this for attention or to organize a pity party. I just simply need help. So I ask that if anyone is able to and wants to help, to please donate to my PayPal, which will be linked down below, along with I'm planning to restart my Twitch streams to help cope with the situation. You can also use the Streamlabs button below my stream to send me donations. But unfortunately, I don't offer any services like art or voice acting. But I just hope that my streams will not only benefit my emotional and mental well-being, but it'll also be like a positive space for others who might also be going through some difficult times themselves. To anyone that watched through the whole thing, thanks for listening to my story. I appreciate any efforts to aid in remedying my situation, whether it is through your own donations or just sharing my story. Honestly, if you cannot, please do not feel obligated to donate if you're also in a difficult financial situation, because your own needs come first, and sharing it. I know I said I'm not writing this for attention, but giving this story a little bit more exposure through a retweet or copying that Twitlonger link and sending it elsewhere, it will very greatly help. Maybe it could get to someone who is in the position to help and wants to help. So yeah, do not donate if you cannot. I'll also be slowly making my own payments on the car, and eventually I'll be it'll be a lot easier on me if I have just some additional help, because I'm already working 2 jobs. I'm looking for another job online, some kind of remote job. Um, Either that or I just have to find some other retail job or something. Because I really want to get this paid as soon as I can. I really want to, pursue my dreams and actually move out of here and move somewhere else, preferably back to SoCal, where I grew up and I can be with family again. But this whole thing has just been if I don't have help with this, I'm most likely it's gonna take me about a year, another year, um, to fix this whole thing, and I really don't want that. So to anybody that can donate, um, I could really use your help. But again, I must say this again: do not donate if you're also in a difficult financial situation, because your own needs come first. I'm just a stranger online that's just asking for help. You know, your needs are more important. So yeah. Anyways, that really should be it. Again, I'll be leaving all the links in the description down below. So go ahead and give it a look, and also I will try to start my Twitch stream up again, and hopefully we can all kind of be able to play games and laugh and have fun and all that stuff. So yeah. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for listening. If anybody is still here at the end of this video, and with all that said, I will see you guys later.